Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Nandana Brajajana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Radha Radha Nata Radha Radha Nata Radhe Jai Gauranitai 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 Jai Gauranitai Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jaya Om Vishnupada Paramhamsa Privaracharya Asutasara Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Jaya Om Vishnupada Paramhamsa Privaracharya Asutasara Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Sarigaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki jai. Shri Giri Govardhana ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanande Hari Hari Bo. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So today is Ekadasi and we normally read from Srila Prabhupada lilamrta on Ekadasi. So here goes. I'm very glad to inform you that we have reached Malaysia very shortly, that on my arrival there was a nice meeting and then we have come outside the city. Yesterday I was very busy all day. So, for 2 days, Prabhupada stayed in the home of a wealthy Sindhi merchant of Kuala Lumpur. The house was large and luxurious, with thick carpets and large mirrors. But when Prabhupada learned that the hosts were meat eaters, he refused to eat anything except fruit and milk, even though the disciples offered to cook for him. His disciples, having traveled throughout Malaysia, considering eating at the homes of meat eaters permissible as long as the devotees could prepare their prasadam in pots not used for cooking meat. But Srila Prabhupada's standards was higher. One room, okay, we'll just talk about that a little. So, eating of meat basically is like a no-no, right? And Prabhupada's standards were so high that even, at the home of a meat eater, he would not take prasad. He just accepted fruits and milk, basically, like that. So, we see that, even in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna states that, if one offers me with love and devotion, patram pushpam palam toyam, yo me bhaktya prayachati, that if one offers me with love and devotion, a leaf, flower, fruit, a little water, I will accept. So, in many cases, Prabhupada said that meat eating is demoniac, and should try to refrain from even eating meat, eating food at the homes of those people who eat meat. So it's very difficult when you go to families' houses and they offer you something. So it's very difficult like that to partake. But according to time, place, and circumstances, sometimes we have to do the needful, and also that is in one sense preaching, that you accept something, and in this way they look favorably to you, right? And they may even become devotees. But if you say no, and you be very strict about everything, then they won't be inclined to become a devotee in the future, because you may put them off. So in this way, for a higher principle, sometimes we need to break, one of the rules, basically, for a higher principle. And in some cases, when Tamal Krishna Goswami, he just joked with Prabhupada and said, "Why didn't you send me to China?" And then Prabhupada said, "Yes, you should go to China." And then, and then he said, "But Prabhupada, what will I eat there?" And Prabhupada said, "If you have to eat meat and preach, then so be it." Because that's a higher principle. Preaching is a higher principle. So in this way, we see that Prabhupada's set a very, very high standard like this. Although the devotees were eating, cooking prasad in pots that were not contaminated by meat, and while they stayed in houses that had meat, right? So Prabhupada lectured at Kuala Lumpur town hall at the Lakshmi Narayan temple, mostly to Indians. He explained that people could be united only on the spiritual platform. We know that Srila Prabhupada came here to the Lakshmi Narayan temple in Chatsworth, not far from here, right? And he made one prediction that there'll be a temple in this area whilst he was there. So, 10 years later, this temple manifested. So we see that here that Prabhupada, here also he went to a Lakshmi Narayan temple and he preached, right? And what he said that, look at the United Nations, he said, they are all adding more and more flags, and there are only more and more wars. United Nations, we say the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is the real United Nations, right? Because nobody is fighting with each other. We're all serving Krishna to the best of our ability, And if you go to Vrindavan and Mayapur, you will see this, manifested. There's so many Russian devotees and devotees from all over the world congregating in one place and worshipping the Supreme Lord like this. So then this is the real United Nations. ISKCON, right? So one room, So one room in the house had a large collection of marble deities, about 50 sets of Lakshmi Narayan and Radha Krishna deities in a row. It appeared to be more of a collector's display than worship. However, and Prabhupada was unimpressed. So we know that, when you have deities, you need to take proper care of them and worship them, according to the Pancharatrika Vidhi. So in this way, these deities were just there. There's like about 50 sets of deities just there. Lakshmi Narayan and Radha Krishna, and basically not being taken care of, personal care of, like this. So in ISKCON also we have a very high standard of deity worship, right? And also in the Radha Raman temple, they have a very high standard of deity worship. Prabhupada said we should learn from them how to worship the deities like this. But he set a standard for us as well. So Prabhupada lectured at the Kuala Lumpur hall. I got mixed up here. So Prabhupada lectured at the Kuala Lumpur town hall at the Lakshmi Narayan temple, mostly to Indians. He explained that people could be united only on the spiritual platform. Look at the United Nations, he said. They are adding more and more flags, and there are only more and more wars. This Krishna conscious movement will be the real United Nations. Prabhupada had brought with him slides of ISKCON's activities, and he had one of his disciples narrate a slideshow, coaching him on what to say. When a slide appeared of Rath Yatra in London, Trafalgar Square, Prabhupada prompted the devotee, now it's no more Lord Nelson, now it's Lord Jagannath, right? So you see how Prabhupada took Krishna everywhere. And here he's claiming that it's not no more Nelson Square, it's Lord Jagannath Square, right? When Prabhupada met the couple offering the land, he discovered that the agreement was certain important. The agreement had certain important conditions. The doctor and his wife said that they would give ISKCON a large piece of land near the main highway, and that their own construction company would build the temple. Within 2 years, however, if the company hadn't completed the building, the doctor and his wife would reclaim the property. Always eager to consider any serious donation of land, Prabhupada accepted the conditional offer, but he knew that such offers were usually too conditional. Already the doctor and his wife had hinted of Indian brahmanas running the temple and of ISKCONs having only a side altar. One evening, as Prabhupada talked with the doctor, a gynecologist, the talk turned into birth control. Prabhupada explained its sinfulness, and he gave an example. If someone poisoned the air in the room he and the doctor were sitting in, then they would have to leave the room or die. Similarly, Prabhupada explained, contraception means to poison the womb, deny a soul a rightful shelter. So you see how Prabhupada, he was like so expert in every topic basically. He had an answer for everything. And here we see that, he's talking about birth control and how that basically poisons the womb, and then the soul cannot enter the womb. So like this, and he gave an example of the air of the room that they're sitting in. If you put poison in the room, the poisonous air, basically, you would breathe that and die. So similarly, or you cannot stay there, you have to move out. So similarly, the womb is like that. If it's poisoned, then the living entity cannot stay in that environment like that. So we see here that Prabhupada was so expert in everything. Like Prabhupada's previous host, the doctor ate meat, although the devotees had been pushing him to give it up. Prabhupada was gentle. Try to stop eating meat, he urged. It was Ekadasi, and Prabhupada decided to fast from all food, again showing extreme reluctance to eat in the home of a meat eater. So now we go on to Sydney, May 9th, 1971. The Sydney devotees weren't ready for Prabhupada. The early telegram had informed them he was coming, but a later telegram said, Prabhupada not coming now. A third telegram had come, announcing that Bali Maradan, the Australian GBC secretary, was coming, when a fourth telegram had stated only arriving and the date and flight number. The devotees had presumed this referred to Bali Maradan, not to Prabhupada. The devotees had taken a small garland and had gone to meet the plane. And when the doors to the customs area opened and Srila Prabhupada himself walked out, They were flabbergasted. Can you imagine? Here they only received a telegram that Bali Mardani is coming, and now they go there and they see that Prabhupada is there. So a white attaché case in his left hand, a cane in his right, a lightweight chadar around his shoulder. Srila Prabhupada entered the airport. Reporters on hand to interview Bali Mardani came eagerly forward, one of them inquiring why Prabhupada had come to Australia. Replying softly, Prabhupada said he travelled everywhere, just as a salesman travels everywhere. A salesman looks for customers wherever he can find them, and Prabhupada was travelling, searching for anyone intelligent enough to accept his message. There is no difference in coming to Australia, he said. The government have made a declaration, this is Australia, but we see everywhere is the land of Krishna. One of the devotees hurried to phone the temple. Prabhupada was coming. Like Prabhupada's original temple at 26 2nd Avenue in New York, the Sydney temple was a one-room storefront on a main business thoroughfare. On the storefront's plate glass window, one of the devotees had painted a picture of Radha and Krishna. Prabhupada entered the room and found it bare except for a simple wooden altar, which altar with three except for a simple wooden altar with 3-inch Jagannath deities and a big cloth covered Vyasasan. An old rug hid the floor. The blue haze hanging in the air was smoke of the downstairs kitchen, where a devotee was frantically burning cumin seeds to spice Prabhupada's lunch. Prabhupada remained grave as he walked deliberately to the rear door and looked outside. But when he saw the garbage, the garbage, right? Everything. It was in a hurry, right? That someone phoned the temple and said Prabhupada is coming. So they took everything and they shoved it outside. Right, just to make the temple room clean. So Prabhupada went to the rear, he opened the door and he saw all the garbage there. He wasn't happy. Right, so what is all this? He asks. Someone tried to explain unsatisfactorily. A devotee brought a glass of milk. A devotee brought a glass of milk. Too hot, Prabhupada said. And the devotee took it away. Prabhupada sat on the large Vyasasan. He looked around the room at each face. None of the 15 or so devotees had ever seen him before, and only a handful had been initiated by mail. They were untrained. The carpet was dirty, he said, and it should be replaced. And why were there no flowers on the altar? He had brought Radha and Krishna deities, but before the devotees could begin their worship, everything must be very clean. The devotees would have to become brahmanas before they could worship Radha and Krishna. These devotees Prabhupada knew little of Krishna consciousness. The devotees who had come to Australia originally, Upendra and Bali Mardani, had opened the center and left, returning but rarely. Shishi Radharadhanatha ki jai. Thus, an entire temple of inexperienced devotees had been virtually left on its own. Since one of the Sydney devotees could lecture well, since none of the Sydney devotees could lecture well, the deity classes had consisted of reading from Srila Prabhupada's abridged Bhagavad Gita as it is, and the only book they had. Yet their firm faith in Prabhupada compensated for the lack of training. They accepted him as a pure devotee directly in touch with God, and they accepted his books as truth and Krishna as a supreme personality of Godhead. But many practical things they didn't know, such as how to cook, lecture, worship the deities. They knew Prabhupada wanted them to chant Hare Krishna publicly and distribute Back to Godhead magazines to the people of Sydney, and this they did daily. Despite frequent arrests, they continued with their Sankirtan. So in those days, the devotees would get arrested for causing noise pollution. Right? Going out in the streets and chanting Hare Krishna, they would be arrested for that. So here it is said that many arrests were made also. Right? Despite frequent arrests, they continued with their Sankirtan. Sincerity they had. They only lacked training. A devotee brought Prabhupada his lunch, poorly cooked, the chapatis half burned, half raw, the vegetables were wrongly spiced. Prabhupada rebuked the cook. If you didn't know how to cook, why didn't you tell me? I can show you. And he went into the kitchen. One of the cooks had tried to make kachoris and had failed. Although she knew that the dough had to be rolled thin, the filling put in just right, and then the edges folded over precisely. Neither she or any of the devotees had been able to do it. Prabhupada, using the same dough and filling, demonstrated the art and made perfect kachoris. Even up till this day. I can fold, but I have a problem, at the end of the folding. So it always comes out a little not right. So these devotees knew, and how to fold a kachori. They didn't know anything, right? So, but they tried to make something. I remember once my Guru Maharaj, they put him in the kitchen, right, to make kachoris also, I think, yeah. And then he basically, he didn't know what he was doing, and he just he tried to make something, but he said it just came out like a total flop, like that. So yes, so all these things, need training. When you in Krishna consciousness, you need to be trained. Although you may be coming from an Indian background and you may know certain things, but still when you come to Krishna consciousness, everything is different. It's foreign to you, right? And you need to be trained on how to do certain things like that, the way the devotees do it and how Prabhupada wants it, right? So, let's go on. The devotees explained their difficulty in making chapatis. There was no flame on the electric stove. The chapatis always came out dry and raw or burnt and never puffed up. The excuse only annoyed Prabhupada. However, who showed exactly how to make chapatis that puffed up every time, even on an electric burner. Then he taught the cooks a simple vegetable dish, advising as he cooked. After he left the kitchen, the devotees tried the chapatis again. They wouldn't puff up. It seemed a magical art only Prabhupada knew. Right? So here now, the devotees, they tried to copy Prabhupada and to make the chapatis, but it wouldn't puff up, right? And so that is why I'm saying it takes training. It takes a lot of training, and basically, in Indian homes, girls are taught from a very young age how to make roti and chapatis and like that. So I remember when I was 12 years of age, and my mom had to go to work, and basically I had to do the cooking when I came back from school, and we are 5 of us, 5 children in the family, right? And I had to basically, cook for the whole family. It was 7 of us, and my parents. So, and because my dad was at home, he taught me how to cook, He didn't like cooking, so he taught me how to cook, and that too on a primer stove, not on a gas or a electric stove. So that's how basically I learned how to cook, like that. Oh yeah, and roti making. My rotis would always come out like all shapes and designs. It never round basically. So as you're growing up and as you get used to the rolling pin, and then you get some. You basically know how to move the dough around, like whilst you are rolling, and it takes a round shape like that. So it's an art. It's an art on how to roll round rotis and puris. Srila Prabhupada had his reasons of bringing Radha and Krishna to Australia. Some of them apparent, others so deep that only he and Radha and Krishna could understand them. Of course, he was always expanding his movement, of which deity worship was an important part. So that was one of the reasons for bringing Radha and Krishna to Australia, to strengthen the devotees and establish more solidly his movement there. And Prabhupada loved these deities. They had presided over Bombay Pandal, and when they had been out on stage, he had kept them in his room. And when they hadn't been on stage, he kept them in his room, where he could look at them during the day. He had brought them from Bombay to Malaysia to Sydney, and now he proposed to install them in his fledgling ISKCON center. By the infinite purity of his heart and the depth of his determination to risk anything for their lordships of Shri Radha and Krishna was unfathomable. Srila Prabhupada's activities were most grave, and their deeper meaning eludes an observer. Of Lord Chaitanya's Krishnadas Kaviraj wrote, "I do not know the deep meaning of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's activities. I am just trying to describe them externally." When Prabhupada came to the temple to perform the initiation ceremony, the deity installation, the devotees weren't ready. Only one small vase of flowers decorated the almost bare altar, and the devotees had not made garlands for the deities. Prabhupada was displeased. The small temple was packed, however, and the guests and devotees crowded the open doorway and peered through the front window. TV crews filmed the action under hot lamps. While devotees hurriedly strung garlands for the deities, Prabhupada performed the initiation ceremony. There were 15 initiates in all. To some devotees, he gave first initiation, to some second initiation, and to others both first and second. Then he lovingly bathed the forms of Radha and Krishna. So now we'll go through the whole ceremony, how Prabhupada did things, right? And you will see during Janmashtami also, we do the same. How Prabhupada is worshipping, so we do the same. So, yes. Then he lovingly bathed the forms of Radha and Krishna and performed the fire sacrifice. While dressing the deities, he remarked that their bodies had been poorly made and that the devotees should make new ones immediately. He named the deities Shri Radha Gopinath. Bevavi. Now, so Bevavi is one of the devotees, and she remembers this incident, right? And she states, quote, he initiated everyone in the temple, anyone who was there, even one boy who had just joined that week and had only come across Krishna consciousness the week before. The people who weren't living in the temple, just anyone who was there and somehow serving. He wanted Krishna consciousness to be established in Australia, and he just initiated everybody. He gave first and second initiations at the same time because, having installed the deities, they had to be some brahmanas. But he didn't know anything. We weren't even ready. The altar wasn't finished. Prabhupada explained to me that we had to string flowers for a garland. The deity was supposed to wear one. I was running up and down the street trying to find some flowers and get some thread and make a garland. Same with the sacred thread. There was no sacred thread. Prabhupada gave the men a sacred thread at Brahmin initiation, but no one really knew what it was. So I had to run and buy some string, and while Prabhupada was initiating people, I was sitting there in the arena making sacred threads, copying the one that Bali Maradan had taken off himself. I made 5 of them, and then I was next. After the sacrifice, and after I came out of Prabhupada's room, where he'd given me the Gayatri Mantra, and other devotees said, "You're a Brahmana now, so you have to have a sacred thread too." They told me to make one for myself, which I didn't because someone told me later a woman wasn't supposed to wear one. We just didn't know much. At Sydney Grammar School, the elite school of boys, Prabhupada led his disciples and a group of students in a kirtan procession through the schoolyard. About 200 boys and several teachers took part, some children frolicking and laughing and singing the mantra, some soberly following the procession, and the teachers smiled and watched. The procession ended in a large room with a row of chairs in the front. Prabhupada sat in the headmaster's elaborately carved throne-like seat in the center and began playing kartals. Continuing the chanting of Hare Krishna, seeing only a few students responding, he stopped and looked around at the children sitting before him. "So, you are all beautiful boys. Why you don't join us in chanting Hare Krishna? Is it very difficult? Will you not try to chant Hare? Say Hare." A few children said Hare. "Prabhupada, all of you chant Hare." The children weakly, Hare, some giggling. Prabhupada led them through the mantra, one word at a time. Still some children were reticent. Prabhupada, there are only 3 words, Hare, Krishna and Rama. Is it very difficult? Chant again, Hare. Children, Hare. Testing the prodding, Prabhupada coaxed them. "Oh, you cannot chant? You are all dumb?" The children broke into laughter. "How is that? 3 words you cannot chant. Oh, that is very astonishing. Chant Hare, Hare, Krishna, Krishna." Prabhupada began rhythmically ringing his kartals, the children following him as he sang, "Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare." What's the time? We'll just read a little. There was silence, then whispering. Finally, one 12-year-old boy stood. His schoolmates applauded and laughed. "Oh, thank you," Prabhupada said. "Come here." The boy approached. "Do you know what is God?" Prabhupada asked. "Yes," the boy said. "God is self-realization, and God is found in the conscious mind, unconscious mind." "Thank you." And again, children applauded. "No, wait, don't go away," Prabhupada said. "Now you must explain what you mean. What is self-realization?" The boy, right? It is tapping the powers of the unconscious mind and seeing yourself. Prabhupada, do you think that the mind is unconscious? Boy, the mind is unconscious. Prabhupada, to understand the unconscious, you have to find out what is consciousness. Boy, I'm not talking about consciousness, the unconsciousness. Prabhupada, unless you know consciousness, how can you describe unconsciousness? Boy, unconsciousness, the id, Prabhupada. Unconsciousness is the negative side of consciousness. So you should understand what is consciousness. Then we can understand unconsciousness. Boy, consciousness? Prabhupada, yes. Try to understand what is consciousness. Then you will understand what is unconsciousness. Consciousness is spread all over the body. Suppose I pinch any part of your body, you feel the pain. That is consciousness. This feeling of pain and pleasure is consciousness, but that consciousness is individual. I cannot feel the pain and pleasures of your body, neither can you feel the pain and pleasures of my body. Therefore, your consciousness is individual, and my consciousness is individual. But there is another consciousness who can feel the pain and pleasures of your body and who can feel the pain and pleasures of my body. That is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. You have heard the name Bhagavad Gita? You? Any of you? Another boy. Yes. Prabhupada, who says yes? Please come here. Thank you. Very good. At least one of you know what is Bhagavad Gita. And the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that. And Srila Prabhupada proceeded to explain the difference between the body and the soul, and between the individual soul and the Supreme Soul, Krishna. You are the individual knower of your body. I am the knower individually of my body. So everyone is the knower of his own body. But there is another person who says, I know everything of everyone's body, just like I know something of my body, or I know something of this world. Similarly, there is another Atma, soul, supreme Atma, who knows everything of this universe. He is sometimes called God, or Paramatma, or Krishna, whatever, according to the different languages. After describing the soul's intimate relationship as an eternal servant of Krishna and the soul's suffering caused by forgetting that relationship, Prabhupada concluded his lecture. These teachings should be introduced in every school and college so that from the very beginning people understand what is God, how great He is, how He has related with God, how He is related to God, and how we have to live. So our movement, Krishna consciousness, is teaching that thing. Don't think that we are a sectarian religion. We are making people God conscious. It doesn't matter to what religion you may belong. If by following the principles of religion one becomes advanced in God consciousness, then it is first-class religion. That is our motto, and we are preaching all over the world. Therefore, I request your teachers here Therefore, I request your teachers here to make the student from the very beginning of God consciousness. Then their future will be very peaceful, prosperous, and hopeful. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So we'll stop there. Anyone would like to add? Say something? Hare Krishna. So, Srila Prabhupada lilamrta ki jai, Srila Go Premanande, Hare Hare Bol.